Welcome back to day 4 of our 5-day meditation challenge. I'm Lynn Curry. I'm a McNair director at Central Michigan University. I am so happy that you are hooking in and learning about this potentially profound practice and exploring for yourself what meditation might be able to do for you. And so as a quick recap, today we're going to be doing 4 minutes of meditation. Before we get into our practice though, I just want to recap that what we are doing, right? This is all about training our brains. It's about doing a little bit of exercise, right? A little bit of exercise, just like we go to the gym to work our muscles, or we do physical exercise to work our muscles. We are training the muscle of our mind, right? We are training our brains to focus. Focus. It's so easy to become distracted and drawn into all of the stress and challenge and all of the things, right? All of the things that we all need to deal with on a regular basis, right? That it's really, I think so many of us struggle with this. So this is one practice, one technique that you can do a little bit every day. Again, this idea of consistency, right? Daily practice to help train your mind to focus and not attach to all of this ticker tape that's with us, right? This and that, telling yourself that you're no good and worrying about this and stressing about that, right? All of this stuff we can learn to not attach, and we learn to step into greater ease and being okay, right? I am okay. Even if things are not okay, I can still be grounded in my okayness. So that is what meditation teaches us. And so today, I think one of the biggest challenges for meditation is that people lose sight of this potential for it to be profound, this potential for real transformation, really, because when you are learning and training yourself to be more present, being more awake, that really can translate in many different aspects of your life, right? And so it's pretty easy to begin a practice and say like, okay, I'm gonna practice meditation. I'm gonna do this, and then all of a sudden you're like, this is kind of boring. Meditation is kind of boring, right? Once you kind of get into this flow of sitting and breathing on a daily basis, it can be boring. It can be really hard, right? You might feel really anxious, and so your practice might feel hard. You might, things might come up, right? Just sitting with yourself in stillness and silence, focusing on your breath. I think a lot of people are like, okay, this is boring. Nothing is happening. There's no like instant, like, okay, like, oh, I'm less stressed. Like you might be more relaxed after you meditate, or not. You could be totally agitated by the fact that all you were doing was thinking during your meditation, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the practice is. Let's always remind ourselves of that, right? We got to let go of that. We're not trying to be perfect in any sort of way. We're just simply trying to be consistent in our practice and coming back to our breath, coming back to ourselves, because that will start to translate, right? Even if immediately we're like, what am I doing this for? I'm wasting time. I could be doing other things. I'm just sitting here doing nothing. This is boring and this is hard, right? I mean, you could do that. So the antidote to that, in my view, is this: trust. Trusting yourself, and trusting the practice. Trusting yourself, trusting the practice and the process, right? So it's not like, I think in our culture, it's like we just want these instant results. And that's not what meditation is. It's not this big glamorous, thing either, right? It's a daily practice. It's a daily habit. And I think this is where it's just really interesting, because so many, at least in my experience of working with students, and faculty, that, you know, intellectually we can say, oh yeah, meditation, that's probably a good thing, and it would probably benefit me in numerous ways. But it's a whole nother thing to actually do the daily practice. So to sit with the boredom, to sit with ourselves in silence, and to have faith and trust, right? And so you might have noticed here my little sign that I've had here. And this was really three core concepts that when I did my teacher training, our whole training was sort of couched within these core principles of the potential of our meditation practice, as I've mentioned, just allowing ourselves to learn more about ourselves, right? So gaining more insight about ourselves and ultimately the world, right, around us. So trusting that this process will lead to something, right? More than just being able to focus, right, and let go of stress, but also compassion, developing a greater sense of compassion for others and for ourselves. In most cases, I think it's harder to be compassionate with ourselves, right? It's just so easy to beat ourselves up. And when we are in our meditation practice, learning to be gentle, learning to, oh, I'm thinking again, let it go and come back. I'm thinking again, I'm going to let it go with a sense of deliberateness, right? But also a sense of softness, a sense of gentleness, right? So we are developing greater compassion. Okay. And so, and that's huge. That's huge. And then courage. This is, you know, wonderful, because I think that when we learn to go in further, you know, step further into ourselves, like that's really what it is. So we're stepping more into ourselves, and we're not trying to change ourselves. Meditation really is not about striving to be better or striving to be anything other than what we already are. And so when we are in meditation practice, we're learning to simply be and just notice our own strength, notice our own beauty, and to embrace that, right? Instead of trying to be anything that we're not. That's what meditation can potentially bring us more toward ourselves. And having the courage to just step into that and be who you are, right? And to be instead of always doing and thinking, but simply be. This is who I am, right? And so I'm also just going to say this again, is this idea of little bit most days, little bit most days. So the consistency part is more important than the amount that you're doing, right? So don't put big pressure on yourself, but just keep it simple, and just doing a few minutes of meditation in a more consistent way is going to bring us closer to some of these things, right, in the long run. So those are my 2 cents for today. And we are going to come into our practice for 4 minutes. I'm really excited, building slowly. And so let's come into our posture. Let's come into our seats. Take a nice seated position. You know, I need a drink of water. Feet flat on the floor if you're on a chair, or a nice cross-legged position if you're on the floor. Feel free to lie down if you need to, and just arrive. Come into our bodies. This is our time to meditate. We let everything else go because we can. We are making this choice to create the space and time for ourselves, to simply be with ourselves, to simply allow ourselves to come into our bodies, come into our breath, so that we can spend a little bit of time working with our minds. And so we just go ahead and take a nice seated position. Feel your natural elegance. Feel your natural dignity. Feel yourself uplifted and grounded, strong, soft, open. Hands simply rest, palms down. Just let go of any tension. Breath is natural in and out of the nose. Chin is slightly tucked as we take our soft gaze cast down 4 to 6 feet in front of us. And we just simply take in whatever it is that we see. Relaxing all of our front body. Relax your belly. Top of the head reaches up just a millimeter more, perhaps. Relax your jaw. We come into our breath. Breath is our object of attention. It's our anchor. Start to feel the inhale followed by the exhale. Beautiful flow in and out. Slight pause. No effort needed. Breath is with us if we tune in. Feel your breath. Ride the waves of your breath. Beautiful cycle of breath over and over again. Flows in and flows out. Our minds will continue to make thoughts, no problem. We simply allow them to fade to the background because right now we're tending to our breath. There's no need to do anything about our thoughts. We simply let them be as they may. If we notice that we become absorbed in any of our thoughts, completely fine. There is the opportunity to simply wake up, notice that we're thinking. We can choose to let go of the thought and come back to our breath. It's as simple as that. We make that choice over and over again as many times as we need to. No judgment. Sense of softness, gentleness, and we simply begin again. And we'll sit together for 4 minutes. Thank you for your meditation. Thank you for practicing together. Thank you for practicing with me. I always forget that I'm like used to sitting and just breathing with my computer with other people via video, sometimes live. So it might seem odd, but it doesn't have to be, because we're simply sitting in meditation together. I got used to it during our teacher training when we were, well, I was training with people all over the world, so we were all tuning in via our computers, which is crazy, but really cool at the same time. So hopefully now on day 4, you're used to sitting together. And I'm so proud of you. How did it go? I'm really curious. Just starting out, 4 minutes might feel like a lot, and that's completely okay. Just being okay with what is, right? And as a reminder, you can find me on Instagram at Lynn Marie Curry, because I would love to know how you're doing, how the 5-day challenge is going. What are you thinking about meditation? Hit me up, because I sincerely am interested in building community, having connection with people who are interested in meditation, who are interested in cultivating a daily practice. And if I can lend my support in any way, I sincerely want to do that. So thank you for joining me for day 4. We've got 1 more day left. We're going to get the big 5 minutes in. So I hope that you come back tomorrow. I will see you soon. Thank you.